when I see it in stone. 'Cause you went away, how dare you? I miss you. They say I'll be okay, but I'm not going to ever get over you.
Well, good afternoon. Today we gather on the sacred field to mourn the loss, to remember and celebrate the life of a beloved man, Griff. For many of us, Griff was and he will always be a coach, a teacher, a mentor, and a friend. And he will always be a husband, a dad, a grandpa, a son, a big brother, and an uncle. It's always difficult when we come to these moments in life when they're sudden as they are and when you lose a good one. The difference with Griff is that Griff wasn't just a good one. Griff was and is a great one. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Cody Jensen. I grew up here in Big Bear. I'm a pastor down in Orange County and played football for Griff when he just started out long time ago. In fact, years ago when I read that he was retiring, I thought to myself, why on earth is he retiring? He just started coaching. Made me realize just how fast time had gone by. We are all here today because we love Griff, because he impacted our lives. And so today we're going to share memories, we are going to share stories, we are going to laugh, we are going to cry, and we are going to cheer for, and we are going to honor him. This is all part of the grieving process, and we do this together. Would you join me in prayer? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the life of Coach Griff, the love that he showed us, the care that he showed us. Lord, we are so grateful for the time that we had with him. Lord, would you meet us in our sadness and in our mourning, Father? Would you wrap your arms around Miss Griff, Ryan, and Ashley, and the rest of the Griffiths family this morning? Lord, we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. At this time, I'd like to invite up Coach Griff's siblings, Jenny, Jamie, and Tommy.
Hi, everybody. I am Jenny, David's sister.
I'm Jamie. Sorry, I'm nervous.
It is really humbling to witness our brother's legacy here today, to see all your faces. It's a testimony to Dave and a real reason to celebrate him. So Dave is our older brother, and we have never known life without him in it. Growing up with three brothers was truly a blessing. My brothers have provided me with joy, comfort, and pride. As I grew older and I matured, I realized what a unique and special relationship that I have with them. Now, brothers can be a little crazy sometimes.
No, true.
Overprotective,
Yes.
physical,
Yeah.
and very matter-of-fact. But I have realized that these characteristics have really helped me, strengthened me in ways that I'm often not very aware of. Dave did not say a lot, but when he spoke with me, I was very sure to listen, because what he always said was very purposeful and intentional. His ability to calm my nerves with insight or provide a good laugh was a blessing. My brother had a reservedness and quietness to him that brought him peace, and this allowed him to connect so well with others. As Jamie's going to tell you soon, David was good with himself, with who he was, and that resonated in all of his relationships. He was a quiet and a strong leader that many young people and adults and his family were really fortunate to have known. And this may sound sort of funny, but I think I not only speak for a lot of you, but definitely for us up here, that we not only love Dave, but we like him as well. And going through my most challenging times, it was often his voice and words that helped me overcome my worry and put things in perspective. That was my brother's gift, to unsuspectingly ease someone's mind, make them feel better, so that they can get back on track. That particular skill set is what led and allowed him to reach and kindly touch so many lives over the years. And this is why Dave was such an impactful colleague, teacher, coach, and friend, husband and father, and grandfather, son, and brother. I will miss Coach Griff every day, like all of you. And though I will grieve for him, more importantly, I will hold my older brother in my heart and in my mind, cherishing my many memories and shared experiences with him. And I encourage you all to do the same. On behalf of our parents, Papa Griff and Mama Griff, myself, Jamie, Tommy, our kids, Natalie and Mia, Caden and Josh, Ren, Heba, and Sanjeet. We thank you, Lisa, for your impact on so many lives as well, for being our family and for loving Dave unconditionally. We thank you, Ryan and Ashley, for being your dad's pride and joy. And we know that you will both carry on your father's legacy as you're already doing in your lives. And we thank all of you who've been touched by our older brother, both down the hill, because I was happy to see so many of you here today, and in this incredibly supportive Big Bear community, and you provided Dave with such joy and meaning in his life. Thank you.
Good job, Jenny B. That's all right, she'll leave. All right, so I'm Jamie. Wow. Kept asking the question, why? Why my brother? Why our brother? He did so much good. And then looking at this, I see a lot of good, a lot of crazy beautiful. Dave was the goofy high school teacher. I'm the goofy first grade teacher, so bear with me. If I ask you to interact, that's what first grade teachers do. I had an in-service. They talked about intent versus impact, and the intentions might be good. Dave had so many good intentions, but I don't think he realized the impact that he had, or he does, and you see it out here. So I see the good in that. So thank you. So I wrote this piece along with my first graders. So bear with me, the editing might be different. Dave is good. And while I'm doing this, if you feel this is good, give me a thumbs up, give me a shaka, stand up, do whatever you need to do. Dad, you know you need to stand up once in a while, so. All right, here we go. So it all began when Mom and Dad gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, Dave. He became a good son. Became a good brother, I guess. Yeah, I mean, definitely a good friend, a good student, a good athlete, very good athlete, a good teammate. And I think throughout the years, he got better at those good things. Sorry, can you see this? Yeah, no. Then he met Miss Lisa. Lisa, thank you for taking Dave. Man, bless you. Bless you. Can't believe you said yes. So there he became a good husband. Yes, all right. A good coach, obviously. Good coach, right? Shaka. A good leader. A good brother-in-law. And then became a good dad to Ryan and Ashley. A very good dad. Then a good uncle to Mia, Josh, Caden, Natty Bears. And to an uncle to a lot of you, and a father figure to a lot of you. I know that. And you can see it in this audience. Then Ryan showed Riz. Dad, Riz meaning he showed game. So he marries Hannah, and they have baby, beautiful Monty, which turned our brother into a good granddaddy. I wish he had more time with that. The last 15 years, basically, I used to call my brother, and I still do, Big Bear Dave. Some thought because he gained some weight up here. That's fair, but it wasn't. It's just knew he was doing big things up here. And we appreciate it. We appreciate what he did. So, again, as a first grade teacher, if you can stand with me, if you thought our brother was good. Thank you to this Big Bear community for loving on him, being solid. Thank you for all of our family that came up, that continue to show us support when we think we're lost. That simple hug, just simple. Thank you, Mom, Dad, for giving your son, you taught him to have a work ethic, to be kind, to be respectful. Obviously, he listened to you. He's good. So I just want to say thank you. And Big Bear Dave, stay golden. Stay golden.
You may be seated. All right. I know, I smell you. Okay. Gotta love my siblings. I'm Tommy, Dave's youngest brother. Dave and I had a sort of complicated relationship growing up. We were 8 years apart, but it was the 80s, and he was the star quarterback jock. And at the time, I was his closeted little brother who he could not figure out. And, you know, he figured it out. We didn't always see eye to eye on many things, but thanks to Mom and Dad, aka Mama Griff and Papa Griff, we were always given the space to talk and to be seen and heard. That foundation that they created for Dave, Jenny, Jamie, and I created a strong bond among us that I am forever grateful for. It helped us to stop, listen, try to understand each other, grow as individuals, but still keep us close as siblings and, more importantly, friends. It wasn't until I was older that I realized that our family was a little different than others. We actually liked each other. Nobody needed to force us to hang out. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had some pretty hilarious, epic fights when we were kids, but it was amazing to watch Dave grow from my annoying older brother into basically what I refer to him as Dad 2.0. What a transformation. We were also happy when Lisa came into the family. Big sis. The first time we met her, we all were like, dishes are done, she's the one, let's go. And soon after, they were engaged and married, and we love you, sis. Thank you for everything you did for our brother, for us. Thank you for bringing two of my favorite people into the world. Love you, Rye. Love you, Ash. No. Not your time. You had your time. Okay. Our parents' legacy continued even as they retired because Dave continued it here in our second home, Big Bear. This is where he went from Dad 2.0 to Coach Griff 2.0, because that's what Dad was called down the hill, as Flatlanders. He learned from Mom and Dad what it took to be a leader in both. They always taught us that to be good at something, it should be based on intention, focus, drive, determination, love for their students, athletes, and their community. If this seems like it's sort of a dedication towards our parents, well, then you're right. Dave and the three of us up here are our parents' biggest fans. We don't often get the chance to thank those that are still with us. And Dave, this is yet another lesson you've taught us, big brother. Life can take us by surprise. So in Dave's honor, we thank you, Mom and Dad, Papa Griff, Mama Griff, Grandma, Grandpa, all the names we bestow upon you, for giving Dave such a wonderful legacy to uphold and to share in this amazing community. Dave took what you taught us and put his own beautiful, hilarious dad joke spin on it. You know, it's funny, the older we get, the more we support it, the more we appreciate things like how I'm so proud every time I'm up here in Big Bear. I would tell anybody who would listen, Coach Griff is my brother. And I remember talking to Dave one time and telling him that, and he goes, well, be careful, not everybody up here likes me. And I was like, oh, I know. I quickly responded. I said, I know. That's when I say I'm Miss Griff's brother.
Fact.
I claim Lisa on those days. That's my girl. The last few weeks have been really, really tough. I'm not going to lie. I get mad. I get sad. I exhale a lot. And then I'll laugh about some random fun time I had with our big brother. Dave and his family liked to watch American Idol, which was good and all, but all of a sudden, I was being called Ryan Seacrest by Dave. He would love to be out in public and be like, to Jamie, be like, hey, is that Seacrest? Just to see what people would say or how they would respond. It was funny. I would shake my head and be like, okay, whatever, Dave. And then every time I left someplace, he'd yell, Seacrest, out! And I just shake my head again. But those jokes that he had will forever remind me of our jokester and our terrible but also hilariously endearing dad joke connoisseur. I'll wrap this up by saying thank you, Dave, for all that you did for us as a family, for your community, faculty, students, athletes, friends, etc. It's clear that you chose to live a noble, giving, loving, honorable, and rich life. Although 55 years wasn't enough time for you or for all of us that you love, that love you, I know we can rest knowing you accomplished more, as much, if not more, than those to live to 100. Thank you for being so accepting and fiercely protective of me, your gay little brother. It meant the world to me, and it set a new standard for more people than you will ever know. Thank you. Thank you for being there for me whenever I needed you, and for the thousands of phone calls, even in your busy schedule, that always started out with, hey, little brother, how are you doing? And gave me the space to talk to him. And like I said, Dad 2.0. I got lucky. I got two amazing dads. Remembering those calls will forever bring a smile to my face. You are forever in our hearts. I love you so much, big brother. And this one's for you. First time I've ever done it in public. I'll say on behalf of you, Seacrest out. Thank you all for being here. We love you. We love you, Dave.
Afternoon, everyone. Wow. Jenny, Jamie, and Tommy, it was beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Gary and Gloria, I'm so sorry for your loss. I know the way I feel today, and I can't imagine what you're going through. Losing a wonderful son. Hopefully this beautiful Big Bear Day will bring you some comfort, knowing how much Dave was loved and how special he was to so many of us. I didn't know until recently that Jenny was going to put me in the leadoff spot for this service right now. There's a lot of pressure when you're in the leadoff position. I feel like I need to set the tone for this inning and possibly the entire game. I was ready to be at the bottom of the batting order. I was hoping I could get up here and just say, I agree with everybody. Ditto. But that's not going to be the case. Well, I'm honored to be here in this position, so I'm going to do the best I can. First of all, we are not supposed to be here today doing this. Lisa, we're supposed to be driving around on a golf course in a golf cart, acting like we're coaching, showing each other our little grandbaby pictures or the videos that Ryan and Hannah sent you that I've enjoyed also. And we were supposed to be celebrating you going into retirement and making fun of Dave because he still had to work like the rest of us. But instead, we're doing this. So for those of you that I haven't taught or coached, or whose parents I haven't taught or coached, my name is Chris Leon. This is my 35th year of teaching here at Big Bear High School. I've been very fortunate to have come across some amazing people in my time here. Many of you are here today. I'd love to name all of you, but today we're here to celebrate Griff. Dave was in a class all by himself. He was kind, loving, funny, motivating, and caring to everyone he came in contact with. He had a special gift to know exactly the right thing to say at the right time to students, his colleagues, parents, and all his close friends that showed he cared about you. Hello, sweetheart. My story with Griff began over 30 years ago when he started teaching. My beautiful wife, Debbie, was part of that very special group of young teachers that began their careers at the same time down in Lucerne. Dave and every one of them represent all that is good about teaching. They love being around kids and have the ability to build relationships that'll last a lifetime. Every one of them has the gift of getting students to achieve great things in sport and in the classroom. They also help students to become the caring, thoughtful adults that we want in this world. Dave was a huge part of that. He was a natural leader and a person who always tried to do everything the right way. I've had many special, memorable times with Dave over the years, but I'll try to focus on just one of them. For the past 15 years or so, Dave and I and a few other special friends, like Mr. Little, have been able to get together right around this time of year to enjoy a little bit of college basketball. It's given us time to be goofy, to probably eat too much, definitely gamble too much, and possibly to have too many sodas together. It also has given us time to catch up with each other, to reflect upon our beautiful families and our struggles and triumphs over the past year. As most of you know, there were many successes for us to celebrate. And Dave was always just being Dave, making sure all of us were doing okay, organizing the day's agenda, and giving me, Mike, and Corey a hard time because we were taking off for a couple of hours to go play pickleball. But one of Dave's most important roles was to make sure that Charlie wasn't lost and wandering around aimlessly. Corey, that's your job now. It's a tough one. You won't do as well as Dave, but you can try. Dave was also always trying to get us to go in on a group bet for some special horse race that he had been working on for hours. I always said okay, but I don't think we ever won. It was just something else that we did together. My special time with just Dave was in the very early part of the morning while everyone else was asleep because they stayed out a little too late the night before. We were both early risers. Dave had his cup of coffee, and I had my orange juice and a couple of donuts. Sorry, Debbie, but they're delicious. I had to have a couple. We just loved hanging out. We'd spread out the newspaper and the racing form and all the other papers that Dave had been working on the previous night. And then we would just talk. We'd talk about life. I'm sure this year we would have been spending a lot of time talking about our kids and sharing grandpa stories. Ryan and Hannah with baby Monty, and my son Reed and his wife Alexis with their new baby Jax. This is supposed to be a very special time in our lives. And I'm going to miss spending those with you, Dave. I love you. Lisa, Ryan, and Ashley, and Hannah, and baby Monty, thank you for sharing Dave with me and my family and this community. Lisa, we will be riding in that golf cart again. This time we might be crying together because there's nothing that will ever be the same again without Dave. I love you. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Jeremy Little. I'm a teacher and a coach at Big Bear High School, and I was a teacher and a coach at Lucerne Valley High School back in the day. I bet I'm the only person here who's ever seen Dave dance at a Commodores concert. No show of hands. For those of you who don't know, the Commodores are an R&B group. Best hits were in the 1970s and 80s. Some of their hits included She's a Brick House and Easy Like Sunday Morning. Look into it. So a few years ago, some of us were hanging out at Prim, Nevada. We were there for March Madness or Kentucky Derby or something like that. And Dave got comped 2 tickets to the arena that night for the entertainment, and it was the Commodores. And so he came up to the table and he came to me and he said, I just got comped 2 free tickets to the Commodores. Do you want to go? And I said, yes, I do. And so we went and got as dressed up as we could. And we went to the show, which was in the big arena there in Prim. And it was Dave and I and a packed house full of diehard Commodores fans. I mean, it was us and to the rafters, Commodores fans. They knew every lyric to every song. They danced, and they swayed at the right times. And so did Dave. And that was an awesome memory I got, that visual. I mean, imagine that, if you will. And I was dancing right there next to him. And man, that was a fantastic night. And we left that arena with far more friends than we had gone in there with, that's for sure. And the next morning was Sunday. And so we were sitting around in the sports book watching games. And Dave kept singing over and over again, Easy Like Sunday Morning. We had heard that song the night before at the concert. And he would do that. He would get a song or a commercial jingle stuck in his head, and he would sing it repeatedly. And that morning, he just kept with a little smirk on his face, and his readers down at the end of his nose, and the racing form in his hand. He just kept singing, Easy Like Sunday Morning, over and over and over again. And it just is a great memory. He was in one of his favorite places, doing one of his favorite things with some of his favorite people. And I just love that memory. The first time I met Dave was at his job interview at Lucerne Valley, California. The school was new. The high school it just opened, and there was an open position for a teacher and a coach. And so I had been asked by the district to be on the interview panel. And so there were 5 or a handful of us on the interview panel, and we'd already seen 4 or 5 applicants. None of them were good. A couple of them were horrendous. And it was Dave's turn, and he came into the room, and he was dressed in a suit and a tie. He looked impeccable. And he came and he shook every one of our hands, and he looked us right in the eye, and he introduced himself. And he sat down and he took the hot seat, and we grilled him. I mean, we had some tough questions, and every single answer that he had was so good. I mean, it was so good. He had thoughtful answers, and he had nuanced answers. There were a few that it seemed like he'd been recently doing research on that very topic, and he wanted to share his new thoughts on that idea with us. He knocked it out of the park. He aced every single question. And it got to the time where a guy on the panel said, do you have any questions for us? At that point, Dave opened his leather-bound notebook that he'd brought with him, found 12 or 13 typed questions that he had for us, and he asked us about the community and the local school district that he was applying for. He asked us about the real estate market, and he asked about the local Little League program in town. The incredible interview, amazing. I had noticed the whole time there was this thread going through all his answers and even some of his questions. And the thread was teaching us and telling us about who he was, about his character, and about what his priorities were, and even his sense of humor. And it was an absolutely fantastic interview. And it was over, and he got up, and again, he shook every one of our hands and looked us right in the eye. and remembered our names and walked out the door. Boom. Well, the first guy on the panel said, thumbs up. And the next guy on the panel said, thumbs up, And then right across from me was the principal at that time, and I'll never forget her face. There was this look of joy on her face, and she was like, 2 thumbs up. And they got to me, and I said, thumbs down. And the panel said, what? Are you kidding? Thumbs down? That guy is so good. Those answers were spectacular. Thumbs down? Justify. Well, I tried to explain that, what you had said, it just seemed so good. Like he seemed so good. And I was struggling in my mind to figure out if anybody could really be that good. Well, just like how it sounds stupid coming out of my mouth right now, thank goodness they didn't listen to me at all. They promptly voted affirmative. Dave was hired, and the legend began. But that first day that I met one of my best friends for the next 32 years, I literally voted thumbs down. And somehow I think that's kind of funny. And Dave did too. And I just want to say that really, as you've already heard and are going to continue to hear, he really was that good. He was that good of an interviewer, for sure. But he was that good of a coach, and that good of a teacher, and that good of a mentor, that good of a husband, that good of a dad and a son, and he was that good of a friend. I'm going to miss him a lot. Thank you.
How do you follow that up? Tough act, huh? Hello, everybody. My name is Zach Williams. I was lucky enough to have Coach Griff for a PE class during my time back in high school, class of 2017. Before I start, I just want to thank Ryan Griff and the entire family for allowing me to present this piece I wrote today and help honor Coach Griff. It really means a lot to me on this day, so I thank you guys so much for that. In times like these, I often remember a lesson I learned in physics during my time in high school. Those of you that are familiar with Mr. Bradley or are currently taking physics, this sound familiar to you? I often remember that it's a law of nature that energy can't be created or destroyed. It simply moves from one place to another. And I look out over this field today, and I believe that Coach Griff's energy is with us here right now. What made Coach Griff so special was that he touched so many of us clearly through so many years in so many different ways. Whether you're currently, you've had his class recently, or you knew him back 10 years ago like I did, or you played on the football team 20 years ago like my brother did. It's honestly hard to put into words just how big of an impact and how special Coach Griff truly was. But when I heard about what happened, I immediately thought of my friend Ryan, and I knew I had to write this both for him and his dad and the entire family. So, without further ado, this is a poem called A Man We Called Coach. If you ask the students of Big Bear who they admire most, many would tell you it was a man we called Coach. Whether you were in the gym, on the field, or passing through the hall, the coach was there helping us stand tall. He was a man that generations of us knew, and through his lessons, our teams have even won a championship or two. When he spoke, we would listen with little distraction, for we knew that teaching and sports were his ultimate passions. Through so many years and so many games, no matter the score, he was always our mentor, our leader, our friend, and so much more. He was a man we called Coach, and unlike him have come before, whose legacy will forever shine and endure. And to his family, please know this to be true, that the coach's spirit will always be with you. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Vince Bauer. Like many of you, I had similar experiences playing for Coach Griff and having him as a teacher in conditioning class. It goes without saying what an amazing coach, teacher, father, grandfather, husband, mentor, person that Mr. Griff was. For me, in those early high school years, Griff was like a father. And he helped mold me into the man I am today. I was lucky enough to work closely with Griff on the football field and in the classroom for the last 5 years. And those years meant more to me than I can really put into words. I struggled for a long time to try and come up with what stories to tell you guys and what to say about the huge impact he made on every one of us, and how I could possibly tell the story of Griff in just a few minutes. One of the things I kept coming back to was the influence he had on shaping me as an educator and as a coach. From the moment I submitted my application to teach for the district, through the interview process, and all the way up until that last Saturday, he was mentoring me and guiding me along the way. The man had a way with words. He always knew exactly what to say and when to say it, whether he was trying to motivate you, inspire you, calm you down, get you ready to run through a brick wall at times. His words always seemed to hit the right chord. And the thing about Griff was that when he spoke, you listened because you knew it came from a place of experience, honesty, genuine care. There's so many countless memories and stories about him I could tell, but one of the ones that means the most to me is how he welcomed my family with open arms and became another papa for my kids. That was just who Griff was. Family didn't have to be blood. If you were in his life, you were his family. Every time he drove by our house, he made sure to stop. He would get out of his car, walk over, chat for a while, and make sure the kids got their big hugs. He never rushed those moments. Sometimes he'd stop and shoot hoops on the hoop he gave us. Other times he'd throw a ball around with them or just stand there talking and laughing like he had all the time in the world. Those small moments might not have seemed like much to him, but they meant everything to us. My kids didn't just see him as a family friend, they saw him as their Papa Griff. Griff had an incredible impact on the people around him, yet he never looked for recognition or a pat on the back. That was simply his way. It was the Griff way. He was deeply intentional in how he spoke to people and how he took the time to truly get to know his students. In teaching programs, they talk a lot about the importance of building relationships with their students. But if they really want to understand what that truly looks like, they should study Griff. He lived it every single day. Griff had a presence that could command a room with his booming voice, yet in the very next moment, he could soften his tone with genuine care, often followed by one of his classic dad jokes. That balance of strength, humor, and kindness is something his students, players, and colleagues will never forget. But what made Griff truly special wasn't just what he did on the field or in the classroom. It was the way he showed up for people. He showed up when you needed advice. He showed up when you needed encouragement. And sometimes he showed up just to make sure you knew someone believed in you. And if there's one thing I think Griff would want all of us to remember is this: the impact you make in people's lives isn't measured by awards and recognition. It's measured by the relationships you build and the people you lift up along the way. Griff lifted up a lot of people. And while we'll all miss hearing the booming voice in the hallway, on the field, or in the weight room, the lessons he taught us, the way he cared for people, the way he showed up for his students and players, those things will stay forever. And if we want to honor Griff the right way, we just need to do what he did. Show up for people, care deeply, and make sure the people around us know they matter. Thank you, Griff.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Bradford. I'm a teacher, coach, and the athletic director now at Big Bear High School. I have a handful of Griff stories that I'm very thankful to share today. probably like almost every student here, I also met Mr. Griff in my conditioning class during my sophomore year. During finals week, I felt pretty prepared for all the AP classes and had studied and felt I'd do pretty well. As a high school athlete, I thought my daily preparations would be sufficient for Griff's conditioning final. Well, I was wrong. He pushed us so hard that day that I actually threw up during my conditioning final. After that year, I think he decided it was a little too hard, and that conditioning final changed. I often joke with him after we became colleagues that he became soft after that year. Dave and Lisa, when we were in high school, would often bring their two kids, Ashley and Ryan, to practices and sporting events when I was growing up here. And as a high school student, we all loved seeing them run around the soccer and football field. Years later, when I became a teacher, I have the joy of coaching and teaching Ashley. Dave wasted no time in advocating for my growth and was the driving force to getting me to teach and to coach at the high school. As I continued to pursue my goals in coaching and teaching, he was a constant source of support and encouragement. He believed in me unconditionally and would push me to believe in myself. When he and Ron were done being the athletic director, Dave just kind of gave me the look and said, "You're next." He saw my potential and poured life into my dream. He made me feel capable and driven to carry out the torch that he lit so brightly for every Big Bear High School student and athlete. Throughout my time as AD, Dave has religiously kept an unspoken promise of support, mentorship, and guidance. We would text or check in on the phone daily. Third period would come around and I would get the, "Hey, come see me," or "We need to talk." That would be on average, or the morning when he would call right on his way to work, "Hey, we need to talk right now." I definitely miss those moments. A little while ago, I was actually at the middle school, and a middle school staff member asked me if Dave was my dad, and because of how much time we spent together. I smiled and I said, "Nope, there's just a whole lot of mentoring going on." I also gave Dave a pretty hard time because that means he's getting pretty old if he's my dad. His mentorship began when I was a student and has been present ever since. Some of our conversations were about sports, other times about the riches of faith, love of family, loyalty, and commitment. When I would ask him about what he was going to do later in the day, he often said, "I need to get home to build Lisa a fire and make her a dinner." But when it didn't happen, Lisa and I definitely talked about it. A couple of years ago, Ashley bought her dad the Dad Jokes book for Christmas. Every day he shared a joke with his classes, many of them making no sense, but it would always put a smile on everyone's faces. Oftentimes when I would come see him in the gym, he would either start with a dad joke of the day, either to make me smile or just to make me laugh uncontrollably so I'd embarrass myself in front of the whole class. I'm going to steal one first grade teacher. I do have a multiple subject. Raise your hand if you've heard one of the dad jokes. Ashley, look. I think this entire stadium has heard a dad joke. That Christmas gift was something he cherished, and as you can see around, touched many lives. I remember when December would roll around, he would specifically look at me and say, "Hey, you better tell Ashley I need another dad joke book." During one of my many mentor sessions, Dave and I were watching students play soccer right here on the field, and a rail-tail hawk joined us, and actually was just up here a second ago while Vince and I were talking. The hawk landed near us that day, watching us while we watched it. I shared with him that the hawks often visit me after the loss of my firstborn son, Mitchell, and their presence represents my little boy in heaven. David thanked me for sharing that story, but in exchange told me how important and how much he loved that same hawk. He told me that whenever that hawk would come out, and it would usually stand right there or sit right there on the fence or even by the gates, that he knew we were going to win that game. Every time he saw that hawk before a football game, we won, and that's never changed. The stadium that we are gathered in is a representation of everything that Dave stands for. Making the decision to come out of coaching retirement wasn't a choice based on what he needed in life. He was driven to weave our Big Bear family together. He wanted the next generation of families within our athletic department to build together. He loved all of our kids and became Grandpa Griff to many of them. He wanted the community to feel the energy of Friday Night Lights and remember how special this place is. He loved his coaching staff and looked forward to building momentum and memories for the younger generation of coaches and to continue to nourish and establish both here at the high school and in the youth sports level. His dreams and goals were always bigger than himself, and he would reflect on how he could positively impact our community and our staff. I hope he and his family knows just how permanent of an impact his legacy will always be. Ironically, one of the final things Dave told me I needed to face as an athletic director was to get over my fear of public speaking. Recently, I was at my daughter's school watching her get an award, so Dave jumped in covering the assembly, which secretly I know he loved, so covering it wasn't a big deal, but he always said he didn't want to, but he loved it. When I got back, he gave me this look, like the Dave look of like, you better do it now look. And I told him, no, man, you got it under control. He jumped in. But here I am, Coach Griff. I'm speaking. I know you can hear me. Thank you for your energy, your kindness, your grit and belief in me. I will carry it with me every single day. Thank you.
My name is Dave Bradley. Played for the 2006 CIF championship team. Oh yeah, if you played on the 2006 championship team, can you guys come up on the stage, please? If you're on that team, come up here. For many of us up here today, Griff was a coach. But if you knew Griff, you knew he was so much more than that. When people talk about his coaching career, 169 wins, 2 CIF championships, it's all great. But if you ask Griff about it, he just want to talk about his players. He loved the game of football. You could see it every day at practice, every Friday night, every Saturday afternoon game, and every time he talked about the sport. But what made Griff special wasn't his knowledge of the game. It was about the people he cared about that played the game. I was lucky enough to be one of those players. Griff was one of the people who encouraged me to pursue football at the collegiate level at his alma mater, the University of Laverne. I still remember when I scored my first touchdown in college, I got a call from a number I didn't know. I just hear, "House call!" And I said, "Who's that?" I said, "Griff." I knew his voice right when he said it. He just cared so much. Even after I left the program and moved on with my wife, he was paying attention. He was still proud of everyone he coached. And with him, it was never about football. Griff was one of the most selfless people I've ever met in my life. Every time I talked to him, the conversation wasn't about him. It was about me. It was about my family. It was about what was going on in my life. Griff had an incredible ability to walk into a room and he'd know if a kid felt left out. The kid might not be a star athlete, but he'd make him feel included. He made people feel comfortable. He made them feel seen, and he made them feel special. And that's something I've carried with me ever since I've been an educator, is to teach like Dave Griff. He's probably the biggest mentor I had. I try to get to know every single one of my students in my classroom. I make every student feel valued. I make sure that they feel belonged, and that's what Griff did. And the truth is, everything that I've learned in the classroom, a lot of it came from him. Because Griff showed us the most important thing you can do as a coach, a teacher, as a mentor, is care about people. The wins mattered, the championships mattered, but what mattered the most was how he treated people. There are thousands of former students, athletes, who all carry a little bit of Griff with them today. His legacy is bigger than the scoreboard. Griff taught us how to compete. He taught us how to believe in ourselves, but most importantly, he showed us how to care about people. Coach Griff, thank you for believing in every student and adult in this Big Bear community, for caring about us and showing us what it truly means to be a leader. You'll never be forgotten.
Good afternoon. My name is Chris Proctor. I played quarterback on this 2006 team. I'm currently a college football coach, and I stand here very, very proud to represent this community and be a part of Dave's legacy. I met Coach Griff when I was in 8th grade. It was late in the season. We had just finished football practice, and we were coming off the field, finished practice, and Dave pulled by in his car and said, "You guys look good, looking forward to the future." And I had asked our coach, we were getting coached by Josh Dobson and Kyle Norton, guys like that, and they had just finished playing for Dave, and I was like, "Who's that?" And it was like, "That's the head football coach of the varsity football team." I was like, "Wow," and he came and watched us practice. And that's who he was, man. He always had time to show up. I think that's what most represents him and his legacy, and it shows by how many people have showed up today, because that's who he was. Like everybody, it's hard to pick out a story, but I figured one that kind of most represented him. We had just finished winning the 2006 CIF championship, and we went undefeated, and it was a perfect season and full of tremendous people and players and memories. And it was the Wednesday after we'd won the championship on Saturday, and the following Wednesday he has a next year's team meeting, and he made a big deal about it. Everybody who is returning that next year, we were going to have a team meeting. And, walking into the meeting, you're like, the guy's finally going to pat me on the back, like, "Hey, good job." And he starts the meeting with, "It's over. It's time to move on." Right? And that's who he was, man. He was relentless in his pursuit of being better today than you were yesterday. That's how his legacy is defined. That's what we all know him for. As a coach, it's hard. It's a lonely position often, but that's who he was, man. And so Ron Perkins has the over-under on this, so I'll keep it short. Love is doing something for another person and expecting nothing in return. And that's who he was. Lisa, Ash, Ryan, we love you guys. Dave was there for so many people, and it's our time to be there for you, and if you ever need a corny pep talk or a cheesy line about motivation or preparation, give me a call. I'm full of them. So love you guys. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Benson. Dave and I started together in 1997 here at Big Bear High School. We were young, probably overconfident, and definitely underqualified. And from day one, we've been bagging on each other. If you ever walked by us and thought, "Man, those two don't even like each other," yeah, that was our friendship together. I had the privilege of coaching with Dave for 14 years. We went from the earliest of seasons when he was brand new. He didn't know what he was doing, and neither did I. We had a miserable loss at San Jack in the rain where our star player broke his arm, but that happened to be the same team that we defeated in 2006, winning that CIF championship. Griff demanded excellence, but he was gentle if you failed. He was competitive without being cruel, and he never made a kid feel small. Now me, on the other hand, he was brutal to me, always. At practice, Dave had this favorite routine. He'd mock me all the time. All the players here, you guys, if you were around it, you know this mocking. He would do this ridiculous high-pitched squeal, I don't know where it came from, while pretending just to be me, throwing the visor on the field, making fun of me in front of the entire team. And he committed to it, full bit, the whole deal. The players loved it. I, of course, hated it. Also, Griff had the unique ability to handle both me and Perk. And if you know the two of us, that just might be his greatest accomplishment. I wish all of you could have heard just one conversation of us coaching on the headphones, Griff, me, and Perk. It oftentimes got pretty colorful. Here's a quick example of one. So I'm not sure how many Griff wins there were. I know this, he could have had one more. We're in the playoffs against a team we had no business beating. We're about to take the lead. I was the offensive coordinator. I call screen on the goal line. Perks hears the call. Griff asks what I called. I love the call. I was like, don't worry about it. So then Perkins gets on the headphones, says, do you want a timeout? Griff goes, timeout, Mike? Do you want a timeout? I said, hell no. It's my call. I loved it. Perkins says, take a timeout. I'm going, no, it's a great call. Shut up, Perk. No timeout. Griff goes running down the sideline trying to take a timeout because he knows who to listen to. Sure as heck wasn't me. He didn't make it in time. We didn't call a timeout. The result, it was picked off. We lost by 1 score. That was our coaching. Off the field, one of my favorite things was he'd randomly pop into my classroom. He'd stand there, look around, find something to critique, and then he'd give me crap. And just as I was gearing up for the perfect comeback, I'd hear the door shut. But I would get him back. I made fun of his college. I went to the University of Rutledge, go Dogs. His athleticism, his looks, his overall existence, really, it was not hard to make fun of the guy. The guy wore sweats to 90% of things he attended. Work, games, meetings. Shoot, man, he was the John Fetterman of education. And he took it. He'd sit there, or more accurately, he waited. He plotted, and then he'd deliver something sharper, faster, and usually funnier. And if that didn't fully take, he'd throw down one of his famous dad jokes we've all heard and we've talked about here today. Hey, if you've ever heard the kidnapping at school, it's okay, he woke up. That one hurt to say, but Griff would have loved it. But what made Dave special wasn't just the humor, it was his genuineness. He could connect with just about anyone in our community. I mean, look around today. He was woven into the fabric of this town, in the classrooms, the sidelines, the stands, everyday moments. And recently, when he came back to help restore the football program to the standard he believed it should be, that was pure Dave. He even said, let's just get the band back together. He didn't come back for attention. He came back because he cared. He cared about the kids, he cared about the school, and he cared about doing things the right way. That's who he was. We started together in 1997. We made fun of each other for nearly 3 decades. And somewhere in all that sarcasm, all the sideline chaos, I got one of the greatest friendships of my life. Gary, Gloria, all the Griffs, thank you for sharing him with us. We're just better because of him. Ryan and Ashley, I watched him step into fatherhood the same way he stepped into everything else. Steady, intentional, and all in. Ryan, seeing you now with your family, and Ashley following in your mom's footsteps, as you know, your dad could not have been more proud. Lisa, none of us imagined we would be here speaking today about Dave. But if there's one thing we all know about him, it's how deeply he loved you and how proud he was to be your husband. You will never walk this road alone. Dave surrounded himself with all of these people, all of these wonderful people. And that means you're surrounded by people who love you too. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brian, and I'm one of the offensive coaches here at Big Bear High School. I had the privilege of coaching alongside Griff for the last 17 years, and I'm honored to be here today to speak about him and the incredible man that he was. 25 years ago, I stepped onto the Big Bear High School football field as a freshman. I didn't know it at the time, but that decision to play football wound up being one of the most important decisions I would ever make in my lifetime. It was on that field where I would meet one of the most important and influential people in my life. That's where I met Griff. Like many other players who are here today, I walked onto that field as a teenage kid known for causing trouble. But Griff saw past that. He saw the potential in me that I didn't see in myself. As years went by, Griff became more than just my football coach. He became a mentor, a friend, and a role model. And most importantly, he became a father figure in my life, something I had never had until meeting him. During our time together, Griff showed me that the most important people in your life are the ones who choose to be in it. and that family isn't always blood. Family is made up of the people who choose to show up, and that's exactly what Griff did. He showed up, not just on the football field, and not just as a coach. He was there to share in the most important milestones in my life: getting engaged, getting married, starting a new career, becoming a father, and even helped me raise my daughter. I didn't have to ask him to be present. He chose to be. And as I continue to coach, I will strive to do the same, to show up and be present in the lives of these kids, to see the potential that others might not see, because I know firsthand just how impactful that can be. I am who I am today because of Griff, and I know many of you here today feel the same. This football field will never feel the same as it once did. A piece of it will always feel like it's missing without Griff here. But the legacy he built and the values he instilled in the heart of his students and players will live on for generations to come. In football, we talk a lot about challenges and how to face them and how to adjust them. Little did I know that one of the biggest challenges I would ever face would be learning how to navigate life without him. I think his advice to all of us on how to overcome this challenge would be to do it together, to lean on one another, support one another, and love on one another. Show up for the people you love without having to be asked, without hesitation, just like he did. I know that Griff will continue to be at every game, now with the best seat in the house, cheering on his team and watching his legacy continue for years to come. I know the day we will see each other again. Go Bears.
All right. So I would like to start by welcoming everybody today to Dave Griffiths Memorial Stadium. What do you guys think of that? Yeah, that hasn't happened yet. But the campaign to do it just started right now. So thank you for joining me. That's what's going on right now. Listen, my name is David Courtney. I met Dave in the summer of '97, before my senior year of high school. He was the new coach that Clifton brought in to sort of maybe possibly replace him one day. So obviously we were like, who's this fool, right? We called him Griff, not Mr. Griff or Coach Griff, but Griff, because he looked younger than us. And this guy was a coach too. He's like 5 years old when he was doing it. He was cool from the start, right? He knew that he had a rough sort of group. We had a bunch of world-class trash talkers in that group. Guys like Ben Fieri and Jared Landacre. You could never get one over on them. And Griff took it from us, right? We gave him a hard time. We gave him a hard time about all kinds of fun stuff. We must have learned it from Benson and Griff doing it, because they were talking mad trash all the time. But the first thing we did was made fun of him for being from Lucerne, right? Because from Big Bear, we had beat them like 120-0 in 2 games combined. So we pretty much thought they were no good. Why are we bringing their coach here, right? What's this guy? And we made fun of him. We asked him to get a blood test because we pretty sure he blew blood, and we're all Bears bleed red, you know. So it was kind of one of those things. He took it well. He took it like a champ. One time he said to me, "So this is how we do it here in Big Bear, huh?" He said, "I'll just give them a hard time until they're one of you." I said, "Yes, coach. How you got it?" Well, turns out Dave had plenty of what it takes to become one of us. I'm proud to have followed in Dave's footsteps in almost every move of my professional career. I joined him in 2007 as a coach and learned so many amazing lessons from him. He encouraged me to get back into school and get back in the classroom. So then I followed him to Lucerne, where I was a Mustang for a few years, and I now proudly bleed a little blue blood along with so many of our staff on campus. And Dave was the trailblazer that showed us that way. And we are so proud to be both of those things. I followed his example as a husband and a father. When I realized that my family took so much time, and that was my football family I was talking about, that my real family was sort of suffering, I stepped away from football, and he, with all of the support that he could possibly give and all the love that Dave typically gave, graciously encouraged me to leave coaching, which was hard for me, but it wasn't hard for him, because he wasn't there to support me as a coach. He was there to support me as a person. He would stress the importance of prioritizing family and leading with our hearts. Right? He stressed that you have to take your wife to date nights, and we regularly, my wife and I, would see him and Lisa at Sonora or Saucy's. Right? The garlic fries are always better at the restaurant, just so you know. I will miss the conversations about how being a father is the best reward ever. Watching our kids grow. When I was coaching, my kids were just born, and Ryan and Ashley were young, and they would hang out on the sideline and run around. Ashley always just keeping my kid off the field because he might have get run over. I appreciate you, Ashley. He might have got run over a couple times. I will definitely miss the conversations about the yearly fishing trip to Convict Lake. My family will do it forever, and we'll think of Dave every time. Ryan and Ashley and Lisa, you as well. I hope that you guys can carry on that legacy. You know, whenever we get together for these things, all of us in this small community, we can tell stories for hours. We can reminisce, we can remember, and obviously that'll take forever. And with Dave and all of you, we could talk for years. I mean, my friend Jeff took 26 minutes to tell a stupid story about a tie last night, right? We could take forever to talk about Dave. We all have stories about Dave. They're all really important stories. They all mean a lot to us. Each one of you could come up here and give a beautiful story about that beautiful man. And those stories are all treasures from Dave. A friend said to me this morning that Dave had the ability to so genuinely be present with you when he was talking to you. He made you feel seen. He made you feel heard. He made you feel respected. He made you feel important. He made kids feel good. He made parents feel good because they could trust this man with their kid. What more can you ask from a coach? Everyone has a Griff story. And I encourage you all to tell your stories today, tell them tomorrow, tell them forever in remembrance of Dave. The Wednesday we found out Dave passed away was a rough day at school, you guys. That was a tough one. Teachers were crying, students were crying. We all did it together. During first period, my daughter came to my class. And I said, baby girl, you need to go for a walk. She said, yes, please. So we walked. We did laps around the school. We had kids join us. T. Swizzle was the first one. By the end of the period, we had about 30 or 40 kids. And I said to him, what is the best memory from Dave? What do you remember the most? He made fun of me for this. He made fun of me for that. I said, he made fun of you? That's the best thing you can remember? I asked about 50 kids that day, what was the thing you remember most about Griff? Every single one of them started with, he made fun of me for, right? Whether it was calling kids Bug-Eyed Joe or Tweaker. Bro, that was my kid, dude. Chill. Or he was making fun of you because he couldn't lift the bar. Or he was making fun of you because he had your mom and she couldn't lift the bar. Dave made everybody feel noticed. I could go on forever. But I would just like to finish by talking to the Griffiths family. And I'd like to echo what has been said. Thank you for sharing your husband, your father, your grandfather, your son, your brother. Thank you for sharing Dave with us. Doing what Dave did as a coach and a teacher for so long took so much time from you. And you gave that time to us. And everybody here appreciates you. So thank you all very, very much for sharing Dave. A friend and I were talking last thing about the other day. You know, the one that I feel the most pain for is young Monty, Dave's grandson. We all have stories and memories with Dave, and Monty won't get that chance. But Monty, young son, when you watch this service one day, and you're wishing you could have had him, you could have known him a little bit more, be comforted by the knowledge that all these thousands of people loved your grandpa, And this huge family he built loves you and will be there for you forever. We'll miss you, Dave. Love you, buddy.
It's so beautiful to see so many of you guys here today to honor and support the Griff family. My name is Lorene Klinger. I've had the absolute pleasure of coaching soccer with Lisa for the last 5 years. We started to become friends, and we had a couple of things in common. We both loved soccer, and our husbands both coached football for more than 20 years. So I kind of understood the dynamics of the lifestyle and the sacrifices that needed to be made at home. These coaches need a lot of time to prep for their teams. And then in between our long practices and our late nights, I started to notice something really amazing about Dave. He was a huge supporter of Lisa and our team. It didn't take long to realize that Dave and Lisa were not just any ordinary married couple. They were like a dynamic duo. They moved seamlessly between gyms, classrooms, and fields. And if they were ever in charge of an event, you knew it would run smoothly because they took so much pride in their job. I saw them navigate the demands of their busy schedules, yet they always supported each other in every aspect. Whether it was Dave helping us with equipment, or offering some of his great advice, or just simply being there as a calm, warm presence, their teamwork was undeniable. They shared a vision, a dedication to our students, the sports in our community, and they worked so hard together to achieve it. They mentored so many people throughout the years that it really is an honor to claim to be Griff Strong. To Lisa, I want to say thank you for your friendship and your mentorship, and thank you for sharing Dave with all of us. You are truly something special. To Dave, thank you for loving and supporting all of us, just like you did for Lisa. You made our Bear family better, and your warm, calm presence will be missed. While we feel an immense loss, I hope we can all take comfort in knowing the positive impact that Dave had on our community. Their love was an inspiration to me, and I know that this entire mountain shares the same love for the Griffs. So to Lisa and the family, we love you.
Didn't know everybody was so good at public speaking. My name is Megan Meekum Cantu, and while I am an alumni of Big Bear High School and had that same 6-period conditioning experience that many of you here today have or had, I'm lucky enough to have returned to campus, this time as a teacher and a coach. When I was sitting in my interview for this position, I was asked the big question, why Big Bear? I didn't have a long, complicated list of career goals or strategic plans. My only answer was one that felt true. I was ready to come home. They say that home isn't always the physical location, but the people who make you feel like you belong there. And for me, Coach Dave Griffiths was one of those people. When I stepped back onto this campus, I was stepping into a lot of uncertainty coming from an early education setting and also from Lucerne. But Dave didn't just open the door like he had been waiting for me. He threw it wide open. He made me feel like this transition wasn't something huge and daunting. It was my homecoming. And throughout the beginning of the year, my new involvement in the soccer program, he became more than a coach or a colleague. In the short time since we had reunited, he was quickly starting to feel like family. One memory that I will carry with me forever happened during my fourth period. We were right in the middle of reading Macbeth. Dave suddenly burst into the room and told the class, "I'm here to check on some of my football players." But he found a seat in the back, leaned all the way back, had his coffee in hand, and he stayed, looking for all the world like he belonged right there in the middle of the lesson. When I saw him later that day, he didn't just say, "Good job." He told me how proud of me he was, and that he was genuinely blown away by the things that I was doing. It reminded me of a moment earlier in the year when I had been rushing into the door late as usual. He pulled up behind me in his car, leaned out the window and shouted, "Hey you, how's it going? I'm hearing some really amazing things." That was the thing about Griff. He had this way of making you feel like your smallest wins were championship victories. But it wasn't just the big, loud moments, it was the quiet ones too. I remember him stopping me in the hallway recently just to talk about soccer. And he thanked me for coaching with Lisa this year and told me that she was having so much fun. In that brief conversation, he wasn't just being polite, he was telling me that I was making a difference. And that moment stayed with me because it felt like the final piece of the puzzle. It reminded me that I had finally found the place where I belong. Dave had a way of anchoring you to a community just by noticing the work that you were doing. And for me, he was a constant. He never missed a soccer game. He was the voice behind our scoreboard, but more importantly, he was the heartbeat behind it. He never let me leave the field without a high five, a hug, that signature smile of his, and "Good game, coach." Those 3 words meant the world coming from him. And I'm heartbroken today. I'm heartbroken because we were supposed to have more time. We were supposed to have more games, more shared stories, and 1,000 more inside jokes that only we would understand. Griff lived his life with an open heart. He taught me that being a coach and a teacher isn't just about showing up. It's about how you make people feel when they're standing right in front of you. Griff, I'm going to miss your energy, your pride, and your friendship. Thank you for welcoming me back with open arms, and I'll always save a seat in my class for you.
Okay, after all of those, why did I write all this stuff? Chris Leong was right. Going now, you can say you agree with everything that everybody has said. So I don't need to say anything. Couple things. Mike Benson, I'm glad to know that you were picked on too, because I was bullied just as hard, maybe twice as hard. Maybe he didn't like the Seahawks, I don't know, but the bullying was always great. I loved it. Jamie, I've met you several times. I must not have known you were a first or second grade teacher. You should be proud of yourself. I went into early retirement from 20 years of teaching little kids. Something else I wrote down kind of last minute. Dave, at our last football assembly, ending last year's awards thing, Dave called, he said, you know, Coach Peterson, he's a great coach. You know, the kids just love him, but he's quirky. And I've been called a lot of things, but never quirky. And I didn't ever have the time to ask Dave, what exactly did you mean by quirky? So I wish I had asked him. Because if he thinks I'm quirky, then I think he's quirky. Because we both kind of had that same sense of humor. And you know, I first met Dave 20 years ago when I taught Ryan in second grade. And from there, a wonderful friendship developed. I started off later on teaching Ashley in second grade before I moved to another school. I also coached Ashley in soccer, rec soccer, middle school and high school. And Miss Griff and I kind of became a team with the girls. Wonderful, wonderful years of coaching with those same girls growing up. We became like a family. As we know, one of Dave's loves outside of coaching was horse racing. Before AI was invented, Dave was AI. He had all the info in his brain, while I would fumble with the paper or the computer. I would have the racing form, and he could recite the jockey, trainer, owner, where the horse ran, racing time, finish position, track conditions, and on and on. He would say something like, well, three races back, that horse had an excuse, he was in the mud. And he just knew all that stuff, and I'd look, and he was right. He could make a valid case for each horse entered as to why it could win the race. Even the worst horse, he could make a case for why that horse could win. Okay? All of his analysis was given without even looking at anything. So I think he studied, but he remembered everything about the horses, the breedings, the jockeys. His memory was phenomenal. I'd like to think that I know as much about sports as he does, but horse racing, he put me to shame. Jeremy Little and I were reminiscing the other day on how Dave would get so exciting during a horse race, and he'd slowly move closer and closer to the TV, getting more and more excited as the horses moved around to the last turn. He always had his paper in his hand, and he'd have that invisible whip hitting the horse as if it would really make a difference. Half the time we were so far back, we'd go, Dave, who won? He and I would always bet something called the pick 4 or the pick 5, where you had to win that many races in a row or your ticket didn't pay. There were often big payouts. We'd split the bet, and Dave always did the majority of the research. Often we would get to the last race with the winning ticket still in play. I would ask him, which horses do we have in this race? His reply was usually, if I tell you, then you're bad luck. So I had to figure out if we won based on his behavior as the race finished. If he was really excited, I knew big money. If it was somewhat excited, we might be splitting $100. And if he kind of slowly came back, it was either zero or we just got our money back. Let's see what I have. His bad luck belief transferred to other sports as well. Dave would become so upset at me when I said which sport team might win a game. He'd say he considered that a bad omen and would switch to the opposing team. He'd go, Charlie, who'd you take? And I'd tell him, and he goes, I'm switching my bet. But if I texted him anything about what I thought the outcome would be, he'd just say, stop, don't do that, don't tell me. The last time I spoke with Dave, it was indicative of his character. In the last conversation, it was his joking behavior and his great sarcastic sense of humor. Like I said, he always liked to give me a bad time in a sarcastic sort of Dave way. Before the second round of the girls' playoff soccer game, he was standing with Corey Randall on the sidelines. When I walked over, he said to me, are you nervous with me and Corey here that we might give you a bad time? I said, yes, I'm very nervous. I said, I think I got to go warm up the goalies for their drills. The second to last time I spoke with Dave was after the first round playoff game. He said to Cindy, who was our goalie, you made some great saves today. Dave said to me, I thought Cindy might be rusty with so little involvement in the last several games, but she certainly wasn't. Great job on working with her at practices. It certainly showed in the game. That was typical of Dave, to be appreciative and thankful for people's hard work. He didn't have to say those things, but he was always thankful for people who did their job, as he would say. Many years ago, when Dave was coaching my son in rec baseball, and I was an assistant, I remember him telling me, part of coaching is not just coaching, but getting to know the kids. Show them you care, be interested in their lives, say hi to them, ask them how they're doing, be someone they can talk to. He preached that every year in football or anything he coached. Those are the things I have and I will carry on from Dave, not just in coaching, but in life. To Dave, I hope there's a beautiful racetrack in the afterlife. There are no lines at the ticket booth. They always have $1 beers, and your bets are always winners. To Lisa, Ashley, Ryan, Dave's parents, Sylvia and Gary, Dave's sister Jenny, Dave's brother Jamie and Tommy, Monty, their grandchild, and the rest of the family. Our thoughts, prayers, and heartfelt condolences are with you. Words cannot express our sadness for your loss. Dave's influence on Big Bear and the community will not be forgotten.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Hurd. I was a coach, teacher,
and assistant principal at Big Bear High School for 38 years. It's a long time. I saw that transition between Clifton and Dave Griff. I'm honored to speak about such a great man, son, brother, husband, father, teacher, coach, leader, colleague, mentor, and proudest grandpa of Monty. You've heard of many stories about Dave's relationship with players and students. Winning games, which he did extremely well, was definitely always second to building fine young men. I was lucky enough to witness it firsthand. The hugs he gave every player after a game were one of the most genuine things I've ever seen. Hardworking, caring, encouraging, ethical, loving, and many more words can be used to describe him. But he did have a sense of humor. Back in the day, we would download songs to our phone, and we would put them as people's ringers. Well, I'd be in my office having a meeting. Dave knew I was having a meeting, and he would make sure he called. And he had a special ringtone. Here it was. Come on. Dave would be out there outside of my office, out of the view of the parents, just giggling away. You've heard all these stories about Dave being under control, calm, cool, and collected. Well, I have one story that he was not. Whether it was a detailed practice plan, meticulous travel schedule on game day, or 2 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, he was always prepared for anything. There was one exception. After morning basketball, we all lumbered into the office. We were first greeted by Perkins, his cheery voice and delightful attitude. Dave was seated at his desk, unaware of what was about to happen. Sean Hannon, an athletic man of considerable size, and that day of considerable sweat, grabbed Dave and gave him the biggest, sweatiest hug you can imagine. Dave was no match. There was nothing he could do. No longer calm, cool, and collected. He had to deal the whole day drenched in Hannon's sweat. Dave's impact on Big Bear High School and the community of Big Bear is immeasurable. He positively impacted the lives of thousands of people, and the world is a better place because of him. Thank you.
Kids, I hope you notice I'm polite. I let my elders go first. Hello, I'm Bo Kent. I'm a retired coach and teacher at Big Bear High School. First time I got to know Griff, I was coaching Little League Baseball with him. And we were having a game at Meadow Park. After the game, I asked him, "You've had so much success at Big Bear. Are you going to move on to a bigger school? See what you can do there?" He looked out over the water and said, "Why? We have this view." And then he saw Colin Shower in the stands. He said, "Where else can I go to the playoffs with a 160-pound lineman?" Griff didn't just represent the culture at Big Bear High School. He was the culture at Big Bear High School. Former student Haley Patterson told me that Griff always said yes when he was asked to participate in assemblies. Griff didn't want to be just a staff member. He wanted to connect with students, build relationships, and create lasting memories with all of the students he interacted with. As all of you know, Dave was athletic director as well as football coach and teacher. He guided us through the Great Recession when we had no money, and then pulled us through the COVID when we had nothing. Even though all the sports were moved to the spring, through his leadership, we continued to practice and play games, where his philosophy of sharing athletes really paid off for all of us. One of the happiest times I saw Griff was on a Saturday. 5 teams were practicing at once, and he looked over the fields, tennis courts, and said, "This is what it's all about." After stepping down as AD, Dave still had a huge impact on the school. If you were hired as a coach and teacher in the last 20 years, you can bet that Dave had a hand in you getting the job. During that time, we had a conversation in his office in which Dave called us both dinosaurs, that the era of the 30-year coach is over. Even though he was a dinosaur, he was able to change with the times, always keeping the kids his top priority. And yes, I saw him doing the 6'7", 6'7" thing. As he adjusted how he interacted with players and students, he never sacrificed his core principle of commitment, integrity, responsibility, and expectations. He lives a legacy that will live on. Today, as I look around, I see a lot of dinosaurs here. They all learned from Dave, and we have passed that Big Bear way onto the next generation of coaches, many of whom are speaking here today. Dave was always the biggest supporter of all sports. After Lisa started the girls' program, his support did not go unnoticed. Former soccer player Natalie Powell-Sheehy told me that Griff was an awesome mentor and was so supportive of Miss Griff and girls soccer. She stated that this set an example of what a husband should be. Above all, Dave was about the kids. Last week, I reached out to former students through Instagram. Yes, Griff, I have an Instagram account, and I actually know how to use it. The response was amazing. I was still getting responses, Lisa, this morning. There's no way I have enough time to read them all. Macy Egger stated it best. He treated us like his own kids. He was an incredible man with a kind and beautiful heart. Sammy Bumstead added, "Our house has lost a legend." Finally, I recall the last time Dave and I talked. Dave was walking through the gym, typical Griff fashion. We had just lost a game, and he wanted to check on how the kids were doing. As we talked more, the conversation shifted to what him and Lisa were going to do in retirement. He said they were going to have more time to go visit Ryan and Hannah and Monty in New Mexico and go fishing with Ashley in Montana. And he was going to continue coaching, helping out the football program the best he could. You see, just like Papa Griff, Griff was never going to leave the field. We've all heard this. Here's the deal. We have lost a friend today. Coach Griff, you will be missed.
Good afternoon. I'm Katie Bumstead Cerrone. I've known the Griffiths family since I was 6 years old. They went from coaching alongside my dad and grandpa to being a steadfast support for our family during some really difficult times. As long as I can remember, Griff has been here at Big Bear High School. To think about Big Bear High School is to think about him. Since his passing, I've been flooded with memories of him over the last 30 years. The ones that come to mind, though, are the ones of his encouragement and his mentorship. Even when I was in high school, he would hold me accountable and push for me to do and be better. He knew I was ready for challenges before I did. It was a gift that he had, building those up around him. As me and Jesse have navigated parenthood, he would laugh. First with our daughter Isabella, when I would be younger, arguing with a much younger version of myself. Then with our son Lucas, who we would often be chasing after on this field and has made us frequent flyers to the emergency room. And with our son Max, he used that adult voice when you talk to babies, and it was a voice that would just light up his face. One of the last memories was him taking Max from me when I was coaching basketball and walking around the hallways, and I just wish I had a picture. Seeing him become a grandpa was my favorite. Ashley and Ryan, he was really proud of you. But when Monty entered the world, it didn't matter. He was so proud of Monty. And Monty, you had a really, really awesome grandpa. He was a giant, and there's an emptiness that exists without him here. I miss him, as we all do. Lisa, Ryan, Hannah, Monty, Ashley, and the entire Griffiths family, thank you for sharing him with us.
Join in if you know this. Family on three, Bears on three, believe on three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. These are the three words that were emphasized and chanted since I was a player for Coach Griff back in 2004. When you say it, at first, it doesn't really mean much. But the longer you're a part of a Bear, the more it really resonates with oneself. Let's start with family. What does it mean to be a family? More specifically, what does it mean to be part of a Bear family? It takes sacrifice. The ability to see the whole picture, as Coach Griff did, and learn that it's not about you. That's the first step. Knowing that the person next to you has your back through thick and thin is a feeling that you cannot be replicated or faked. No doubt, there will be times of adversity, and being able to come together as a team, as a family, is key to success. We pick each other up when you can't do it alone. We show up every day and hold each other accountable. That's family. Next is bears. Like the animal, a bear is mighty in many ways. No matter the size, the fight inside the bear is always instinctive. There's no doubt that when it comes to being in a fight, we will not shy away from the challenge. A bear also works hard to the point of perfection with passion for success. We not might be the biggest, the fastest, or the strongest, but we're going to do our best to make it perfect. We do it better. We look to seize an advantage and use it to our benefit. When actions speak louder than the words, there's no need for doubt. When I look at any of my brothers, my bear brothers, they know I gave it my all. That's a bear. Lastly is believe. Once you have shown you're reliable, as a family member does, and the work has been put in as a bear does, the final step to success is to believe, something Coach Griff always did. In 2006, in a semifinal CIF game, we were down 10 points against a strong Aquinas team. Less than 3 seconds left in the fourth quarter. He believed we knew we'd come back from a 10-point deficit. He believed Christian Metzger was going to jump over the offensive line to prevent that game-winning touchdown at our own 3-yard line. With some added luck, he believed that we would get an onside kick recovered by Jake Sokolowski to have Chris Proctor break through tackles and make the game-winning touchdown, which led to a Michael Mooney pick six to end the game and ultimately advances to a CIF championship. Nothing was going to stop us from gaining that championship. Dave Griffiths, along with all his amazing coaching staff, made all this possible. He was the captain who sailed us to success, both on and off the field. Coach Griff and Big Bear football saved me, and I cannot thank him enough for being the father figure who made me the man I am today. Coach Griff and all your beautiful family, you have set the standard. Now it's time for us to continue the standard. Thank you. Family, Bears, believe.
Dave and I had a special relationship, one that was kind of behind the scenes. It seemed like we were the first ones to an event and sometimes, most of the time, the last ones to leave. My name is David Bumstead. For those who don't know me, a coach and teacher. I've been a part of Big Bear football since 1970. Woo. There have been many great men that have been connected to this program, and today we celebrate Coach Griff and all he's given. Being teacher and coach's kids, Coach Griff and I had a commonality from the very time we met. Dave and I talked football, learned and admired Coach Clifton's style of coaching, and had the opportunity to see how each other worked in this game we love and in the athletes we coached. Coach Griff and I had a sit-down conversation to talk about the future of Big Bear football when Coach Clifton retired. We both had entered a conversation with prayer and humility. We wanted the program to keep moving forward and to make Coach Clifton proud. In our meeting, Dave looked at me and said, "I will be the best damn assistant you will ever have." I looked back at Dave with respect and voice in my eyes, and I said, "No, Dave, I will be your best damn assistant you will ever have." And God knew. Just 3 years later, I went through a life-changing event, and I needed to take care of my kids. I'm mimicking Dave with all of his papers and everything. Coach Griff and I stayed in touch and admired each other's accomplishments from afar. We celebrated our kids' births. We shared daycares. Ashley and Trey, you even shared chicken box. We watched each other's kids perform. And Lisa, you tried to help Gay with life, basketball, and my kids. We spent several days together at Convict Lake, and oh, how Dave loved those fishing adventures with his family. Dave knew how much faith family meant to me. Every few weeks, Coach would send me something from his devotional that morning that could lift me up and encourage me. Joshua 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Coach Griff seemed to know which days that I was in tears at my desk during lunch. Our relationship continued to grow as we spent time together in meetings, supporting each other, and of course, time spent sharing faith, family, and football. We shared our concerns of our kids, and we encouraged each other. Proverbs 22:6, "Train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it." As our kids grew, I was able to talk to Coach about joining his football staff. What a joy it was to be back with Big Bear football and Coach Griff. These past 9 years have been special. I let Dave know how special he was and how proud I was of him. Every meeting that we had about football, a student, or life ended with a mutual, "I love you and appreciate you." And then one of us would say, "Yeah, me too." Dave and I have no regrets. We knew our feelings towards each other for the success of those in our care. Coach has many accolades, but his proudest moments were to see success in others. Those of you who played for Coach Griff, if you look at the team celebration pictures, you usually won't find him. Coach was proud of your success. Coach shared several stories with the staff about CIF coaches meetings and how many coaches around Southern California wanted to have the team chemistry and competitiveness that Big Bear football always brings. CIF honored Big Bear football several different times in the 80s and the 2000s with playoff berths with non-winning record. They knew how competitive and how well coached Big Bear was. Dave and I talked about doing our best in all things. Colossians 3:23, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord and not for human masters." I am standing before you today in the coaching attire that was worn when Big Bear football won their first league championship under Coach Griff. When Coach Clifton retired, Dave and I talked about wanting one more year with Coach Clifton. I find myself again in that situation of wishing for one more year with my friend. Coach, you guided my daughter, my son-in-law, coaching efforts, and you didn't know this yet, but Trey is coaching college flag football. He wanted to ask you questions about running a program. Lisa, Ryan, Ashley, Hannah, Monte, Papa Griff, Mama Griff, and the rest of the Griff family, I am deeply honored that that you guys gave me the opportunity to share about my friend, my brother, my coach, Dave Griffiths.
Oh, I'm sorry, this moment got a little harder. I'm Margie Perkins, wife of the grumpy one. And as I kept searching for words to say about Dave, I thought about graduation and seniors and how we share words of wisdom for them to take away as they venture into the world. And then I knew what to say. That Dave, for over 30 years, has imparted wisdom on those seniors that they will forever carry, or as we can call them, Griffisms. They took away either his dad jokes, his PE wisdom, like pickleball being named after a dumb dog named Pickle. They'll remember bantering over badminton tournaments. They took away his humor, his kindness, especially his words of encouragement. And we all know and will remember the over the top of the glasses stare he would give you when he was not pleased. His 30-plus years of athletes or football players will always remember that he was a hardworking coach, but what they will carry with them is that Griff absolutely cared about them, that he empathized with them, that he guided them to be better humans. He was giving, he was kind, and he was humble. Dave was always the first to give a hug and a smile. He was not only a tremendous coach and PE teacher, but what I witnessed is he was a more impressive husband, father, son, and friend, and that he absolutely loved his family, especially being the proud papa to Monty. Dave and Lisa were family. Our kids grew up like siblings, and the Griffiths family took Ron in when Dave and him first met, and then they took in my girls and me. And we were a football family. And Lisa and I understood the assignment that we needed to be there to help them be winning coaches. We were the team behind the team. And when the football team had their dinners, Lisa and I had our football team dinners at Sizzlers. And that was always the most special time for us to get ready to help our husbands with the next day and the games. But I had a different role in Dave's life. I was the instigator. I caused a lot of aggravating situations for him, like getting hit on the sideline and breaking the down marker stick twice. And multiple times he would fire me from my volunteer job of being on the chain gang. I frustrated him at horse racing a lot. I was always cheering against him on college bowl games just to piss him off. And one time getting him in trouble when I was taking care of their kids. See, my favorite memories was our families. I was taking care of the kids as Lisa started her soccer season and had a game, and Dave and Juan were deep into CIF playoffs and they were at practice. So I rounded up the 4 babies, took Ryan and Jesse to their soccer practices, took Ashley to a gymnastics class where she wanted to join gymnastics, and I think Lisa was not real pleased with me on that one. And I forgot to pick up Ryan from practice, so we're 0 for 2. But that's not the best part. I went back, got Ryan, went home, made dinner. Ryan and Jesse went straight to playing FIFA video games and were fighting, and so I had to keep breaking that up. And Allie and Ashley went upstairs to play. Dave and Ron and the kids and I all had dinner, and then they went home. As I was putting Allie to bed, I noticed that there was hair in the trash can, and Allie nonchalantly just said, "Oh, that's Ashley's."
So the next morning, I get a frantic call from David, who was a little pissed off at me, and saying, "You could have given me a heads up." And I went, "What?" Well, the next morning, Lisa asked Dave if he noticed anything different about his daughter, Ashley. And he said she had a blue ring on her face from the Gatorade. Little did anyone realize or notice that Ashley had literally taken her bangs and chopped them off. So again, he fired me from my volunteer job. I have to say, these last few years and all these years that I've been Dave's friend, and I watched him bicker with his other brother, he was always one to give me words of encouragement or a hug, especially these last few years while my dad was sick as well. His impact on my family, my daughters, my husband, and all of you will live forever because we all loved him so much. And I have a new favorite memory now of Dave. And sitting with my dad, Dave, on the beautiful Convict Lake, holes in the water, holding Daddy's sodas, as Ryan used to call them. And on both of them are finding peace. To the Griffiths family, I love you so much, and I'm so sorry that you're going through this. And to Lisa, my best friend, I'm so sorry. And Ashley and Ryan, I will always be your other mama. I love you all. Thank you.
Okay. Those of you don't know, my name is Ron Perkins. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got to ride on Dave's coattails for over 30 years. But I'm here to talk about my friend Dave. 1994, Dave and I crossed paths in Lucerne Valley. Ron Peavy somehow hired two young kids who, I don't know what we knew, but he hired us. Dave was brought in to build a football program. I was brought in to build a track program. And from that first day at a teacher orientation, we started talking about how athletics should be run, how programs should be run, how they should work together. And that's where we started. Those first few years in Lucerne honestly molded a lot of what we did for the next 30 years. It didn't take long for Dave and I to get our hands on everything. By the third year we were in Lucerne, Dave was the head football coach, baseball coach, and the athletic director. I was the head basketball coach, head track coach, and his assistant coach for football. We were running an athletic department. We made a lot of mistakes, a lot of stupid stuff, but we were running an athletic department the way we thought it would run. We had a lot of conversations about that. One of the things I remember in Lucerne, though, our first year, the head coach's name was Dave Penrod. I'm hate to break this to you. The first year of football in Lucerne was not a banner year. We finished the season. I wasn't even coaching. I was the announcer. So if you ever go to a football game and somebody brings up a pollen count, that's my fault. But what I remember is after every home football game, Dave Penrod would have everybody from the staff, and at that time, most of the staff at Lucerne was under the age of 25, would have us all out at his house for a barbecue, and there'd be carne asada on the grill, and then the coaches would show up, and that's where Dave and I started talking. Dave would come and start talking with, well, maybe we should have tried this, maybe we should have tried that. And that started a conversation that we carried on for 30 years. What can we do better? How can we get more out of each kid? And what can we do better for the kids? If you've ever been in the desert at night, it's a beautiful place. Sitting out there, that's my fondest memory. And those night skies, and just talking about the future of what could happen. Who knew it would fly by so quickly? The next year, Dave talked to me into coaching football. Actually, he didn't have to try very hard. I wanted to be there. That's where I started learning the game. Dave and Lisa had a house. I forget the name of the street. That's 100 years ago. But there was a room off of the kitchen. I don't know what the room was supposed to be, but Dave hung a whiteboard in there. And I remember Dave, his dad, and myself would sit in that white room, and that's where I started to learn football. And what I'll let you know about Papa Griff and Dave, they're the kindest people in the world, especially when they know that you're not as smart as they are, because they walked me through everything. I'm sure I had some stupid ideas. They just kind of smiled and said, no. But that's where I started to learn football. techniques, strategies, adjustments, and what we needed to work on. That was the beginning of a defense that we've been running for over 30 years. Dave became the head football coach in Lucerne that third year, and we went 9-1. Went to the playoffs for the first time ever in Lucerne's history. And as an assistant coach, great season, loved it. But then about Christmas time, somewhere in the middle of the year, Dave made the announcement that he's leaving. Big Bear Big Bear was looking for a new head coach, someone to step in, and Dave was the guy. So Dave went to Big Bear. I stayed in Lucerne, ended up becoming the head coach and athletic director. So that started more conversations, because now I was in Dave's shoes, and I got to ask him the questions. Hey, how'd you handle this? How'd you do that? Sometimes I even called his dad. Let's be honest, I called his dad probably more than he did. I had a lot of questions. But they always answered kindly. They always walked me through it, and I never felt stupid for the questions I was asking. A couple years later, Dave, as the head coach, said, hey, if you get a chance, come up and watch one of our games and break us down. Let me know what you think. So I did, because by now I was a head coach for like 2 years. I knew some stuff. I came up to the game, I watched, and then after the game, Dave and I got together, and I gave him my thoughts. I'm sure I had thoughts that were stupid. But he gave me his little quirky little side grin, nodded, said, yeah, So that started another conversation, though. I remember the day we were sitting by the pool in Lucerne, my house in Lucerne, having a beer, just chatting about, now that I'm an experienced head football coach, talking about the woes and what we need to work on. And then finally he turns to me and says, why don't you come join me? Why don't you come coach with me in Big Bear? My answer was no. I loved Lucerne. I loved the desert. I'm from the Midwest. I never knew that there was places that didn't have winter. But if you know Dave, you know that he's pretty persistent. Again, it didn't take too much, but the conversation continued. At some point, the beer turned to whiskey, and then he had me. Some of you guys know me too well. The next thing you know, I'm coaching in Big Bear. Dave handled the whole program. Mike Benson was in charge of the offense, and eventually I took over the defense. As Mike has already alluded to, Mike and I were very passionate about our side of the ball. Sometimes the headphone conversations were heated. Sometimes it was just sarcastic. Most of the time it was just trash talk. Dave would have to step in and say, all right, that's enough. Let's focus back into the game here. And of course we did. Over the years, we've had some incredible teams. You've heard about the story of the 2006 team, down by 10 with 1:30 to go. I couldn't tell you anything else about that game. I can tell you what happened in the coach's office before that game. So we had team dinners every night before a game. We all played our roles in it. My role was, hey, here's defensively what we need to do. Make sure we handle this. Make sure we handle this. Let's walk through anything adjustment we need. Mike did the offense. And then we would leave. I think Mike left. I'm sure he probably did. Me and Mike weren't there. Dave would handle the team part, where they would visualize and they would talk about the night before. The morning of the playoff game, since we play on Saturday afternoon, we're in the coach's office. And if you've ever been in the coach's office at the middle school, it's about 5 by 5. So having 3 grown men in there trying to change was just not good. But Dave said, we're going to be fine this game. We're going to be fine, because the boys were talking to each other about how much they love each other and how much they want to play one more game together. It didn't matter who we were going to play that day or what the circumstances were going to be. We were going to be just fine. So as you heard, we had a great game, come back and win the game. And the next week we ended up playing San Jack. And from the jump of the game, we jumped all over them and had a great night. I remember that night being with the families, Dave, Mike, my families, their families, and being content that, wow, everything we've been talking about for a long time has finally come in and we're good. Now, you've already heard that lasted until about Wednesday, and then it's back to work. People talk a lot about football coaches and how they want to win. That's not really true. We never started a season talking about championships. We never started a season talking about how can we win more games. We spent a lot of time talking about what can we do better with the group we have this year. What can we do for these kids? Dave used to say something when we were talking about not a difficult player, but a player who I don't know how much we were going to get out of them. We're going to be better for that kid than they'll ever be for us. He knew the importance of being part of our program and what that would mean for some of our kids. We knew we were raising young men. Over the years, our conversations changed. As we got a little bit older, as you heard, our kids were raised together. Ryan and Jesse, same age. Ashley and Allie, I still have the videos of A&A Music Productions, where they would steal the football camera and go in the garage and make music videos. Now and then, Dave and I got stuck babysitting, which you can imagine was not a good thing. And the next, we've had several great years. And in 2017, we had a chance for another CIF championship. And what I looked back on was a lot of the seasons, whether we went 4-6 or we went 14-1, a lot of the challenges were the same. We were just trying to help young men grow into their potential. But something happened after that season that hadn't happened before. Dave and I started talking about maybe it's time to step away. And then we started talking about what is that process? What would we even do? How do you do that? Remember, like I said, I've ridden these coattails for a long time. Eventually, we decided to step away, and we went on our little happy journey to do nothing, really. A couple years later, Dave shows up at my classroom door, and I moved my classroom as far away from the gym as I could get. But there he was. Hey, what would it take to get you to come back? I told him, no way. There's no way. I just spent the last fall going to see Chris coaching at NC State or Coastal Carolina, one of the two. Hey, I liked it. Hey, this is kind of fun having fall. But again, Dave, the story ends. But let's be honest, I was excited. I missed going to battle with my friend. I missed taking on the world. Schools that we should have never been on the field with, we were expected to beat. When people ask me what was Dave like? The answer is simple. Whatever Dave you met, that is Dave. There is no other Dave. There is no act. There's no macho in name. Dave, whatever your memory of him is, that is exactly who Dave is. There was nothing else. Dave cared more about kids than he ever cared about winning a football game. Most of our conversations were not about football strategy, they were about kids. Kids going through hard times, kids who had lost a parent, or kids trying to find their place in the world. Dave always came back to the same question: what is best for the kids? That's who he was. Dave also was a guy's guy. You've heard the stories of Santa Anita. You've heard some stories of Laughlin and Vegas and everywhere else. My wife has the massive talent of being able to pick every fourth place winner. So Dave and I would handicap a race and then ask her what she liked and then scratch it off. Okay, that job's easier for us. What I want you to remember about Dave, it's not the championships or league titles, it's the conversations you had with him. Late nights after games, standing in front of a whiteboard, drawing defenses on a hotel mirror. The question was never, how do we win? The question was always, what's best for the kid? Dave believed if you did it right by the kids, the rest would take care of itself, and he was right. Dave didn't just build a football team, he built a family. He helped build fathers, he helped build husbands, and he helped build men. And if you know Dave, you also know this. Whenever something got hard, or we were given an opponent that seemed ridiculous, a tough season, a challenge nobody else wanted, Dave had a simple little quirky smile. He'd say, bring it. And if Dave were standing here with us today, looking at all of us, he'd probably say the same thing about life. Take care of each other, take care of the kids, be the best version of yourself you can be, and when life gets hard, bring it. I miss you, my friend.
First off, I would like to invite the whole 2017 team up here if you're a part of it. If you're here, you can join us up here. That'd be great. Hurry up. while you're walking. All right, sweet. I think we got everybody here. So first off, my name is Chase Dowdy. I'm the quarterback for this beautiful team we have behind here. I had the privilege of being coached by Coach Griff during my time playing Big Bear High School football. Coach was more than just a football coach. He was a mentor, a leader, but someone who helped shape the kind of man we would become today. I still remember my first day of practice as a freshman. Coach told everyone to run their positions that they wanted to play. I ran to the running backs because that's pretty much all I knew. And Coach said, "Dowdy, what are you doing? Go to quarterbacks." I was like, "Okay, yes, sir." At that point, he only knew me as a ball boy who's been on the sidelines for years, a kid who loved the game and who was grateful to be part of the team finally. But he had a way of seeing potential in players before they could see it in themselves. When you played for Coach, you quickly realized football was only part of what he was teaching us. Yes, he cared about winning sometimes, pushing us to be our best, but what he really cared about was building character, teaching discipline, accountability, and what it meant to show up for the people around us. I remember times we'd be sitting in meetings or watching film, and Coach would remind us that he could be out fishing instead, although he really wasn't kidding at all. He was just reminding us that he was choosing to be there with us. Looking back now, it says a lot how much he cared about this program and the players who came through it. Winning the CIF championship was an incredible moment for our team, but it wasn't just about the title. It was about the work, the belief in each other, and the standard that Coach Griff set for us. After those big wins, you could see what that meant in moments like the ones in the locker room. Sometimes we'd be there celebrating, exhausted, and still full of adrenaline. And all of a sudden, Ain't No Mountain High Enough would pop on, and we'd be singing, the whole locker room would be singing along, and right there is Coach Griff joining in. Coach just didn't influence one team. His impact stretched across generations in this town, and so many of us carry lessons he taught us in our lives today. I'm grateful for the time we had with him, for the lessons he taught us. And for the example he set. And Coach, after everything you gave this program to all of us, I hope you're finally out there fishing. God bless the Griff family, and God bless America. Love you guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chuy Castro. I was one of the captains for the CIF football team. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here today to remember and celebrate the life of David Griffiths, a man who was far more than just a coach or a teacher. He was a true cornerstone of our community. Big Bear football didn't just shape who I am, it gave me a second family. I started in the youth program at 8 years old, dreaming that one day I'd finally be able to put on that red helmet. As a kid, I'd make an effort to attend every high school game, sometimes even getting to be the ball boy with Chase. I idolized those players and coaches, especially Coach Griff. At the games, I'd always make an effort to say hi to, and he'd always greet me with the kindest smile, make me feel like I belonged. I was fortunate to play varsity football for Coach Griff for 4 years, and later to coach alongside him for a season. As a player, he taught me the true meaning of hard work, love, and respect, not just for the game, but for each other. To him, football wasn't just about the scoreboard. It was about forging brotherhood where players had each other's backs no matter what. It was about accountability on the field during a tough game and off the field when life got real. He taught us that win or lose, we were in it together. We'd celebrate the highs as a family and lift each other up through the lows. That sense of unity didn't end when the whistle blew. It followed us into our everyday lives, making us better friends, better students, and better people. I got to experience it all over again when I returned to coach with him. Even after my playing days, he treated me like an equal, sharing his wisdom with the same patient guidance. Coach Griff didn't just coach football, he coached life. He showed players and coaches how to face adversity with grit, lead with humility, and find the joy in the journey, not just the destination. For nearly 30 years, Coach Griff has touched the lives of thousands of kids, staff members, and families at Big Bear High School. To the community he served so faithfully, he leaves a legacy that will endure. The fields, hallways will forever carry his spirit and the echoes of his encouragement. To his family, know that he inspired generations, and we will carry his memory forward. Coach Griff, thank you for everything. We'll miss you, and we'll honor you by living out the many lessons you taught us. Rest easy, Coach. We got it from here.
I hate public speaking, so bear with me. First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here today. We've all heard the saying, once a bear, always a bear. And over the past month, I've found that to be more true than ever before. It has been extraordinary to see this community come together and support one another during this time. To everyone who has reached out to me and to my family, thank you. We are forever grateful. My whole life, I have been called Little Griff, and by my dad, Little Lisa, because of how much I'm like my mom. We share a love for all the same things and even followed the same career path. But a few years ago, I realized I am just as much like my dad. I discovered my love for music from him, always needing something playing in the background while cleaning the house or working, and always finding the deeper meaning in the lyrics. But more importantly, I discovered something much deeper that we share. A couple years ago, I called my parents after going through a painful friendship breakup. I was crying, explaining how I had only tried to care for and look out for this friend, yet somehow I still lost the relationship. My dad just told me he knew exactly what he felt like. He said it was like looking in a mirror. He said that it was simply in our bloods to put others before ourselves, even when it sometimes comes at our own expense. That's just who he was. You almost have to be wired that way to work in education. My dad always put his students and athletes first. He made it his mission to ensure no kid ever went unnoticed. Over the past few weeks, I've seen countless messages and tributes that confirm this. Stories of how he showed up, how he cared, and how he made people feel seen and valued. It is for that reason, and so many more, that I'm incredibly proud to be his daughter. Dad, I promise to always be humble and kind, just like the song by Tim McGraw, that you would turn up every single time to make sure that I would listen closely to the lyrics. But more importantly, I promise to always be your little girl. I will love you and miss you forever. Thank you for being my dad.
Before I begin, I want to thank all of you for being here today to celebrate and mourn the loss of my dad. It is truly a blessing to see how many lives he's touched. Adversity. If you spend any time around my dad, you'd probably heard him use that more times than you can count. Adversity is a condition marked by serious trouble or misfortune. It's anything that stands in the way of your success and tries to break you. Even though adversity can be stressful, scary, or shake your sense of stability. It makes you stronger. It teaches you resilience. It pushes you to grow. Adversity was always the word that lived in the background of my life, whether it was things at work, school, or just life in general. The lessons my dad taught me about adversity helped me prepare for moments like this. As a father, my dad was tough but fair. He was my rock, a steady presence in my life, someone I can call for anything and everything, someone who always had the solutions to my problems, someone I could vent to, knowing he would just sit there and listen. He taught me how to be a man, how to be a friend, how to show up for others before myself. He taught me how to fish, how to throw a ball, how to be strong, and how to face things head on. He always said, one whistle at a time, one play at a time. That the next play is now the most important. I've carried those words into my everyday life just as much as I've carried around the word adversity. That reflecting on the moment is okay, but to move on, and that what comes next now matters most. As a husband, he was loyal, steady, and overwhelmingly supportive. He cared about my mom more than words can ever fully describe. Even during his medical emergency, he wanted to make sure my mom was okay before he even answered how he was feeling and how he was doing. He put her first in so many ways throughout his life, right up until his last few words. Watching the way he loved my mom showed me exactly how I want to love my wife. He is the husband that I aspired to be. But as much of a father he was to Ashley and I, he wasn't a father to us, to just us. He was a father figure to many. Growing up, I never saw our dad as just our dad. All the players, past and present, are my brothers and sisters too. To those who I was lucky enough to grow up around as a little kid, I always felt incredibly lucky to have you in my life. You were the big siblings I never had. I looked up to you. I was inspired to you, and I loved you like family. To those who came after me, I may not have known you, but you're my family too, and I'll be there for you whenever you need it. Because that's how he treated all of you. He loved every one of you the same way he loved us. He listened to you, cared for you, gave you advice, and showed up for you just like he did for his own kids. Something that meant so much to me was how quickly he welcomed my wife, Hannah, into the family. Hannah quickly became known as my dad's favorite child. So much so that every time I talked to him, he would ask me how his favorite kid was, and I knew he wasn't talking about me. Hannah even got him a coffee mug that had Ashley and my names crossed out, followed by Hannah's name that wasn't crossed out, and underneath it said, "Is my favorite." I know he proudly showed that mug off at school. But one of the things that's hardest for me to come to terms with lately, and one of the things that hurts the most, is realizing the man I watched become such an incredible grandpa won't be here in person anymore. Around the same time my dad told me he was coming back to coach football was when my wife and I found out we were pregnant with our son. When we told my parents, I remember him pulling me aside later and saying, "Really? You couldn't have told me you had a kid before I took the coaching job again?" Well, I clapped back saying, "Well, you didn't tell me you were going back until after we started trying and found out, so we're even there." Our son's due date ended up being the first game of the 2024 season. My dad told me it didn't matter. He was going to be there for the birth of his grandson, and that the team would be just fine. He was so excited to become a grandpa. The morning Hannah went into labor early in July that year, plenty of time before the season started, he was one of the first people I called. Of course, he was already awake and ready to go. My parents even had their bags already packed. They made the 10-hour or so drive to us with time to spare so they could be there when he was born. We named him Montgomery David. At the time, it was a middle name that represented tradition in our family. Now it also carries his grandpa's name, legacy, and memory forever. I'm thankful that he came back to coach, not only so I could watch him and then coach in the new stadium here, but so that my son can see him coach. Monty may have only been 2 months or old or so and slept through most of that first game here under these lights, but you get the point. My dad and Monty quickly became inseparable whenever they were together. As soon as Monty saw him, whether it was in person or in FaceTime, it was time to go outside for a walk. Those two loved their walks. My dad missed them so much that early in January, he sent Monty a video of himself walking around the yard and up our street. Monty loved that video. He kept pointing at the screen with the biggest smile on his face, saying, "Grandpa." That video means more to me than words can say, that now that these two can go on walks together forever. Last summer when we came out for a few practices, my dad walked around the field holding Monty while he coached. One of my favorite memories from those practices when my dad was yelling something at the team and Monty reached up, put his hand over my dad's mouth, looked him in the eye, and shook his head no, as if to say, "Grandpa, you're being too loud." My dad always said it was fitting that the Dodgers won the World Series the year that his grandson was born. Of course, the year after that, too. As a Giants fan, that bothered me quite a bit. He knew my weaknesses. I was so salty about it that one of the last times he visited, I made sure to dress Monty in a Giants shirt and shorts. My dad apologized to Monty for his father and for making him wear such an ugly color, and promised to get him the Dodgers gear like he deserved. For those of you who saw the video I posted of him and Monty after he passed, my son was afraid of those automatic sliding doors, and my dad taught Monty how not to be afraid of them by pretending to use the force and saying, "whoosh," to open them. I loved watching the early morning cuddles between them two while cartoons played, just like when we did when I was his age. Monty even remembers my dad's chair in the house, despite our brief and few visits home. The second morning after he was admitted to the hospital, we came down and he pointed at your chair and said, "Grandpa, looking for you." He knew your routine together. My dad also taught Monty the word moon. Every time we FaceTime, he'd ask Monty if he'd seen the moon lately. The night he passed, the moon shined brighter than ever before, and has ever since. Now Hannah and I point out the moon every night and tell Monty that Grandpa is looking down on him. Monty points up at it, smiles, and says, "Grandpa." I wish you could have seen him growing up. I wish you could have watched him play baseball and football. I wish you could have taught him how to fish, throw a ball, and hit a baseball. I wish that you were there for every one of his big moments in life as you were mine. I dreamed about those days of you two together more than anything else. Watching you become Grandpa was one of the greatest joys of my life. Losing my dad is something that'll change me forever. I'll miss the calls, the texts, sending pictures of the trout pulled out in the lake here in the Sierras, watching Navy games and college game day. None of it will ever be the same without you. It's unfair. It's too soon. We are heartbroken. We wish you had more time. But Dad, we will carry you with us in how we live, how we love, and how we show up for others. Thank you for everything. We love you, and we'll keep making you proud.
Every time I come to Big Bear, there is so many special places and moments throughout the valley and places at the school that just carry great moments with them. There's moments on these practice fields. There's moments on the lake. There's those moments, those places where we teepeed the same house every weekend. There's tons of memories in this valley. And of course, in the training room with Miss Griff, where she nursed literally all of us back to health. We love her for that. There's moments everywhere, but there is one spot, there is one place that carries a special place in my heart, and I know it's for many of you, and it's back at Minder Field. I went up to Minder Field a few weeks back, and I wanted to get back on that field. I hadn't been on it since the last game I played, and so I went to go hop the fence, and either fences have gotten taller or I'm just older and overweight. It's definitely the latter. But eventually, after I tore my shorts and cut my hand, I got on the field, and I'm sitting there, and I'm running plays. I remember celebratory moments, and I remember locking eyes with Coach Griff on the sidelines as he was calling plays into me. I could remember it vividly. And then I remember the moments in the locker room where we're listening to every 80s and 90s rock band. It's AC/DC, it's Metallica. I am convinced we peaked as a society in the 90s, or at least music did. All awesome memories. But there's one memory that stands out the most, that is just ingrained in my mind, and that is the moment when Griff would lead all of us out of the locker room, that he would begin to march us up to the field, and he would always go ahead of us, poised, guided, confident, all leading us up to that field. And what he reminded me of, and what Griff reminds me of, is a shepherd. Every story told here today is reminiscent of who and what a shepherd is and what a shepherd does. A shepherd is one who guides. A shepherd is one who leads. A shepherd is one who cares for his flock, who knows how hard to push them and knows when to rest them. And Griff embodied the characteristics of a shepherd, and he did it gracefully. He did it with integrity, and he did it with love and care. So many stories will go untold today of his selfless ways in which he cared for you and I, making us better men and women as he cared for us. We were under his care, and Griff shepherded each and every one of us. I remember my senior year, I had perfected impersonating Coach Griff, which is dangerous territory. I go into a conditioning class, and word had gotten back to him that I was impersonating him. So I go in, and we line up to do our jumping jacks, and he says, Jensen. I go, oh, shoot, I'm host. Push-up position. I get in my push-up position. I probably did 100 push-ups that day, and then conditioning class ended. He called me over, and he goes, all right, let me see it. I tilt my hand sideways. I kind of slump back just a little bit, and I do the best Griff voice I could possibly do, and I say, give me 2. He smirks. He didn't even laugh, just gave that Griff smirk, and he said, that's pretty good. Get out of here. So I'm running out. I almost get out of the gym, and he yells across the gym, Jensen. Slouches back, turns the hand, give me 2. That's Griff, though. See, a shepherd knows when to put a senior in check. A shepherd knows when to laugh. A shepherd knows when to mess around. And Griff balanced it all so well and so gracefully. And you may wonder, how on earth did this man love and care for us so well? What you may not know about Griff is that Griff woke up every single morning long before he needed to wake up, and he read his Bible every single morning. He's read his devotionals every single morning. In other words, he spent time with the Good Shepherd every single morning, the source of perfect love and unconditional love. And whether you realized it or not, all of these stories, you experienced the love of God through Coach Griff. And what I love about Griff, he didn't need a platform. He didn't need social media. He didn't need to work at a church for you to know the love of God. No. He demonstrated his love by his care for us. We were his congregation. We were his flock, and he shepherded us so well. And if there is one verse out of the entire Bible that captures who Griff was and how Griff lived, it came out of 1 John 3:18 when it says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and truth." Griff loved with action. And we experienced the love of God through Griff in his actions and how he cared for us. This job for his, it was not a 9 to 5. It was 12 months. This was a calling on his life to be the man that he was. He sacrificed, he gave his time, and he loved and cared because he knew the source of selfless love. All because he knew the good shepherd, Jesus of Nazareth. The Bible says you will know them by their fruit. You will know them by their character, by the way they selflessly love and give up their time. My friends, look around. This is the fruit that the Bible talks about. And I know this passing hurts, and I know it's going to hurt for a long time. But I need to tell you today, this is not the end of Griff's story. This is just the beginning of Griff's story. For there is hope for those who place their trust, who place their faith in the Good Shepherd of Jesus. In fact, John's Gospel tells us, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. And so, I want to leave you with hope today, that this is not the end of Griff's story. That there is a day when he will be resurrected, that there will be a reunion with those who have professed their faith in him as well. That's a day we look forward to. That's a day we long for, and we have to sit in the now and not yet until we get there. I want to close with two things. The first is I invite you to know this Good Shepherd, Jesus of Nazareth, so that you can experience the love and the care that came through Griff. You can know the source of where all that love and all that care came from, so that you too might participate in the resurrection to come. And the last thing is this. Big Bear is a unique place. This is not a normal town. We love each other well. We are family really well. We recognize one another after years of being apart, and we pick up right where we left off from. Big Bear is such a special place, and Big Bear football is a place of family. It is a place of love, and we are all together. So my charge to you as a Big Bear family, will you continue to pray for the Griffiths family? Would you come around them with your support, with your love, with your care? Would you give back to them in all the ways that Coach Griff gave back to us? And if you are with me on that, can I get a resounding amen? Now, I just took you all to church. You didn't even realize it. Man. Miss Griff, Ryan, Ashley, and the whole Griffiths family, we love you. We love you a ton. We are there for you. At any point along the way you need us, you reach out. You got a whole community that is committed to you, that's there to love you, to serve you, and help you. In just a moment, we're going to watch a slideshow of Griff, a video of Griff, followed by the release of the doves. But before that, can you do me a favor? On the count of 3, can you yell with all your might? Can you cheer with everything inside of you? Can you whistle? Can you clap? Can you act like this is the last CIF game you'll ever go to in your entire life? Let Griff hear it in the heavens. Can you cheer on the count of 3 as loud as you can? Or you're going to do it anyways. You ready? 1, 2, 3.
There's a light that glows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. When childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church 'cause your mama says to. Visit Grandpa every chance that you can. Won't be wasted time always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Always stay humble and kind. Know the difference between sleeping with someone and sleeping with someone you love. I love you ain't no pickup line, so always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind. When those dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. When it's hot, eat a root beer popsicle. Shut off the AC and roll the windows down. Let that summer sun shine. Always stay humble and kind. Don't take for granted the love this life gives you. When you get where you're going, don't forget, turn back around. Help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind.
good fight. May you rest in peace now. You've earned the right. You stood brave and tall. the ultimate price. We honor you now. For God and country, you gave it all. And although I'm proud of all that you stood for, my selfish heart just wants you home. Family and friends are all so proud of you, but I can't accept the fact that you're gone. I'm gonna miss you when the golden sun sinks slowly o'er the crest of yonder hill. I'm gonna miss you in the wee hours of the morning when the world is calm and still, when I can't see you, touch you, feel you, hear your heart beating true. Even though you're gone, my love lives on, and I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. Your touch, your smell, your kisses, and the shelter of your eyes. I'm gonna miss you. Your laughter, tears, your humor, and your crooked little smile. I'm gonna miss the plans and dreams we had that never will come true. God wanted you, but I did too, and I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. And I see your face in every star, loving you where you are, and I miss you.
All right, that was beautiful. We are now going to wrap this up by performing one of Griff's favorite things on the football field. So if I can get all football boys to get 6 lines on the 30-yard line, we're going to do bear drill back here. So we're going to get the current football boys to get in 6 lines. All you past football guys, we're going to line you up in 10 lines. Anybody who would like to join us in bear drill right now, go ahead and join us behind the football guys. Just pick a row, jump on in, and we'll explain how this thing is going to go right back there. So I'll give you guys a minute to get down there. Sure, there's plenty of you who'd like to join us with this. Any coaches that would like to join us, please do right behind the white tent. Any Big Bear football coaches, past or present, you're welcome to join us right by the white. All right, if we can get 2006 guys on the right over here, 2017 guys on the left over here, get some rows, get everybody who'd like to join us lined up in these lines. Yeah, get 2 lines, perfect. Hey. He's going to stay in the line. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar, bear drill is something we perform right before every game, right in front of our home stands. This is actually created by the godfather of this is Marty Bumstead, so he's out there somewhere. We'd like to appreciate you right now, one of the many. But what we do here is we basically like to show our unity and our tightness. So how it goes, right? We're going to ask these boys to do the bear drill. We do it 3 different times. The first time, we turn to the right, and we turn a quarter turn every time until we're back to the front. We're going to hit our leg twice, clap twice, and say bears, right? That's bear drill going to the right. Then we're going to do bear drill going to the left. How it works, for all of those who've never done this before, it looks like pretty much every single one of you has, which is beautiful. It makes me a little, man, I got goosebumps, for real. So the first hit, they go down. The second hit, they turn a quarter turn to the right. 5 hits total, they're going to end up facing back in the front. All right? Everybody remember that? Mooney, you good? Michael's got it. He's like, I'm pretty sure we make it all the way to the front, right? We're going to get over here? All right. All right. The smart ones in the front, they're in the video. All right, boys. I'm going to give the microphone to Ryan. He's going to break it down.
All right, guys. I don't think it's fair to start without starting out with the count. All right. You know, the 1, 2, 3. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, yeah. There we go. All right, boys. I've always kind of wanted to do this, so here we go. I've always been jealous, a little jealous. All right, bear drill going to the right. Bear drill going to the right. Ready?
Hit, 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 and up. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
All right, boys. Coach Cerrone, break it down.
All right, bear drill going to the left, bear drill going to the left. And hit, 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 and up. Are you ready? Are you ready? Whose house? Whose house?
All right, this is a tough one. This was right, left, right, left. This is where they always get messed up. All right, boys, right, left. Ready? Hit, 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 and up. Whose house is this? Whose house is this? All right, Big Bear family, for Griff. We did it at the assembly yesterday. We're going to do it one last time with Griff's name on our tongues, right? Everybody in here, let's let him know. Let's let him hear you have it, huh? This is for Griff. Bears, whose house is this? Whose house is this? Bears on me, bears on 3. 1, 2, 3! We love you, Griff. We'll miss you, man.
Yeah.